Word. You're good to go,
Right.
Mike.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. The time is 9:40. We'll call this meeting of the TAA or the TAA Board Meeting today for June 8th at 9:40 as was stated. We have a quorum, so we'll call those to order. And hopefully Jason will be chiming in later. So did somebody note the attendees right now, or those on board that are here for roll call? Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Has everybody had a chance to see the posted agenda for today?
Yes.
Yes. So we need a motion to
Minutes.
accept. We need
Sorry.
a motion. Let's do minutes first and then agenda. I was going agenda, then minutes. Okay. Do we need a motion to accept today's agenda? Yes.
We do. So I'll move to accept the agenda for today, June 8th, TAA Board Meeting, 9:30 a.m.
Shannon makes a motion to accept. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Jonna seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. Now, with that noted, have we had a chance to look at the posted minutes?
Yeah. Yes.
Any questions on the minutes, concerns? Tommy, and I just want to say, like, regarding the minutes, like, if there's something we can do to assist you in returning people's funds, please let us know, because I know that's a big lift.
Yeah.
And checks are still coming in, so.
Yeah, and I have that in my report. I want to bring up how I would like to do
Today?
that. So
Okay.
Okay.
they did get posted on our website, the minutes from the last meeting and the agenda, correct?
The minutes did. I can't promise the agenda because it got prepared late due to my oversight, but the minutes are there.
Okay.
Okay. With that in review, if everybody's had a chance to go over the minutes, do we have an approval of last month's minutes?
I make a motion we approve.
Go ahead, Tommy.
Sorry, Josh. I make a motion we approve last month's meeting.
Tommy with the motion. A second.
I'll second that.
Josh with the second. Noted.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Noted. Thank you. Now we'll move to Tommy, your treasurer's report.
All right, so we are currently sitting at $22,614.92 in the account. That is with deposit or payments made from districts already for the 2020 conference. We have 22 districts that we do need to reimburse. It comes out to just over $16,000 to reimburse, which will leave us with just under $6,000 total in our bank account for the year. It's actually not too much to write the checks out. The longest portion is going to be writing them out, getting the mail and all that. That's fine. That's easy to do. Checks that are coming in right now, I think I'm just going to add a letter to it from TAA and just mail them back. Just that basically says our conference was canceled. Here's the check that is returned to you. It was not processed, so on and so forth. So they know. And then the districts that when I write the check to them, they'll get a letter inside that here's your refund, a copy of your purchase order, and the refund from TAA altogether.
Nice.
And that should, I've started writing some checks. I think I've got about 9 or 10 of the districts done. So it's not going to take me much longer. It's going to be going out to get enough stamps. I got to buy stamps for us to get them out. But they should be out hopefully by the end of the week through Sunday. They will all be in the mail for refunds.
Excellent.
Yep.
Nice job.
Tommy, you mentioned you were going to look about the bank auto writing the checks or whatever. Is it just easier to handwrite them?
It's easier to handwrite them because I have to go in and create every district as a payee in it.
Okay.
And then the other thing I looked at was using QuickBooks, to write them out, but then we have to buy the checks from QuickBooks so I can put in the printer, and those aren't cheap. So we have a lot of checks left in our checkbook. I will just write them all out.
Sounds good.
Practice my penmanship from 3rd grade.
There you go.
Nice.
So you'll just have to monitor Tommy as those are cashed and see because some of them may get lost at a district and they don't know how to post it or whatever. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
we would hope for the
Awesome.
most part it all processes well. And I think Tommy's idea with the letter and a copy of the PO and all of that, it's going to make it easy for most districts, business managers to do an easy, return. It shows
Just a
it's a
journal
paper
entry,
trail.
right? Yeah.
I think Tommy's idea is perfect. Hopefully everybody will bank those and it'll be an easy process.
I've gotten a lot of emails from purchasing departments and APs that send the checks out asking, hey, we were just getting ready to send it. Do we keep it? Yeah, don't even send it. We're canceling your invoice. And then those that have already paid asking when they would get the refund, we told them they should receive it by the end of June. So that way it still stays with the 1920 school year books
That's cool.
and it doesn't,
Oh.
screw everyone up as we go into July for the 2021 school
So
year.
get them
So,
done. Yes. Good idea. Okay. And then, like I said, with that
Alright.
letter, I think that'll work well. That creates a trail that should be just fine.
correct. And then
Anything-
the one last thing I had on my piece for the agenda was our YouTube channel for TAA has gotten a lot of hits, which has been very nice. Our last two meetings that have been posted on there have been seen like 60 times. So,
Wow.
and then Jason uploaded last Friday's meeting from state directors. He uploaded that
Mhm.
onto our YouTube channel also.
Excellent.
So that's available for anyone to go back and watch as well. And it's open to anyone. Transportation administrators of AZ, everything is going to be there. All of our meetings are going to be uploaded onto that as well from now on. But it's
Excellent.
Nice.
going pretty well.
So we
Yeah,
need to keep.
thanks for doing that.
We need to keep in our minutes and as a reminder on our website to encourage people to subscribe. Get that subscription attendees or people subscribing up. So we'll need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
continue
it's on
doing
there.
that.
There were several updates put on the website this weekend as it relates to the directors forum that happened on Friday, some COVID-19 Q&As, and then that survey. So if you guys haven't
Excellent.
been there in the last few days, take a peek.
Nice.
And Jason and I have talked about using that YouTube channel for anyone that wants to create like a little video, like an editorial, kind of like a newsletter. We're just doing like a video newsletter. Here's, your take on this. We'll put it up on there and feature it. Talking about this is what we're doing in this district. This is what worked for us. Here's an HR practice. We're just really going to start using that video side and the technology side to keep promoting and moving forward with our organization as well. So.
Excellent.
And it heard, yeah, that's awesome. Something else we can probably talk about too as going into next year, maybe some quarterly, not that it would qualify as refresher hours, but maybe some quarterly focus points. That would be fun.
Yep. And a lot of stuff just for fellow directors and supervisors as well on that HR side and that management side as well. So yeah.
An APT via YouTube,
Correct.
Arizona style.
Correct.
Nice.
I like it.
It may all go to that for things get better.
Yeah, and Jason
It's the road
was
we're
gonna
following.
reach out to AAPT to share the site with us also to put some of their content up as well. So we just have one location for everyone
One
with
location
resources
for
on it.
everyone
So,
to be on.
with videos.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. Anything else on treasurer's report?
That was it. No money involved this time because there's no conference.
Excellent. Okay. We don't have to make a motion to accept that, correct? We're good, right? Correct
I
me?
believe we do
we-
need to make a motion to accept.
We
the
do.
treasurer's
We
report.
still need a motion.
To accept the treasurer's report for today.
Correct.
Do we have a motion for that? I'll make
I'll
a
move to
motion.
accept the treasurer report as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay. Then the next thing on the agenda after that's I need all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Sorry.
Okay. The next thing
Got
on
it.
the agenda is talking about our alternative conference options. And before we move to, there's a subtopic there on sessions and courses. Before we move to that, I want to make sure as a board, are we good on trying to do the virtual conference and then the dates? I want to make sure now that it is the 1st of June, we've got our dates down. When we had some discussion, it was going to be possibly the 23rd and 24th, which is a Tuesday, Wednesday, correct?
Yeah,
And
we had discussed doing it the week that we were planning our actual conference, and we
Correct.
mentioned that Tuesday, Wednesday.
And I like that Tuesday, Wednesday, because, you know, since we're not traveling to the conference and geared up mentally going to that, I think Monday's going to be a work day for most. And then I would hope the greater part of our attendees would tune in Tuesday and Wednesday. So I like the platform of a Tuesday, Wednesday. Do we need to formally set that date, or are we okay since we had the conference scheduled for that?
Yeah, I think that because the conference is normally during that week, we don't have to revote on the date, just the
Okay.
platform.
Correct.
Excellent.
I think you're right.
So we'll stay with those 2 dates. And then,
And so I don't have anything in front of me. So it's not full days, I don't think, though. Is it just 2-hour sessions each day? What does it look like?
boy,
I think that's what we were trying to work on. Was it was only going to be a couple of hours. It wasn't going to be 2 full days. We talked about like 2 sessions, maybe 3 in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon, with that hour and a half break for lunch. And I don't have Jason's thing that showed what he'd kind of come up with that agenda.
yeah, I didn't pull it either. I was gonna try to save that from last time and just have it, and I didn't pull it. I wanted it on paper in front of me, but that is the general idea. And we had discussion on not too lengthy of a lunch.
Correct.
Try not to let people tune away so
Fall
long
off.
that they may not come back. We toyed with the idea of condensing and only going a 30 to 45 minute out, 30 to 45 minute lunch, no more than an hour, which
Correct.
I liked. If you're attending the conference virtual, my opinion, let's stay focused on that and not. I don't want to have the opportunity to leave and go, well, I didn't make it back, darn,
And
you know.
and what we talked about in the study session last week was like a registration, a sign up for the classes, so they didn't have to be there all day long for all 4, 6 class whatever we offered. If they just wanted to do the joint session in the morning with the keynote, and then maybe the second session that day just before lunch, then maybe the last session that day, we would work on that. Yeah. And Jason was going to put together like a Google Doc sign up, like a Google survey.
Didn't he also mention to maybe start the conference a bit earlier than 8:30?
Yeah, I think we mentioned like around 7:30, 7:45 to start also, because we're all up early and in by before the sun comes up anyway. Everyone except Mike, that is.
Right.
I think that's a good idea.
Do we have, for the blocks of, I'll say, courses, have we identified like leaders or instructors for every single section? Or not yet?
Jason had a few of the things put up there that I think people were definite going to be on that they would do. I don't think everything was finalized yet with the changing of everything to last minute of going the virtual. I don't think everything was finalized on it yet.
I'm not concerned that we can't pull that together, but if he hasn't, clearly he hasn't joined us yet.
Here he comes. He's coming in now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Is he at home this morning, or is he actually in his office?
I think he's in the office.
Can I ask something while we're waiting for Jason?
It will cost you. Yes, go ahead, Teresa.
I know. Okay,
Morning,
I've got
Jason.
2 phones going on here. I've got the webinar with my picture in the right, but I can't hear you. And then I've got my personal phone so I can hear you. Am I doing something wrong?
When you signed in, you may not have hit the join computer audio.
Okay.
That's most likely what it is. It's okay. If you can still hear us through the phone, that's fine.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Tommy.
Yep, that's what we're getting. We're seeing, there's no audio on your computer feed, but we're seeing you at the bottom on the phone, so that's fine.
Okay.
And hearing you. Good morning, Jason.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing all right.
We are at the point of discussion of conference agenda and presenters. Are you at a point where we can turn that over to you for some feedback?
Yeah. I can pull up the agenda what we were looking at already, or what I had penned down.
Okay.
Let me find that real quick.
And
All right, Jason, you're in as a co-host now, so you can share.
Thank you. Oh, I think I opened the wrong file.
I wonder how that's going to look for me.
Are you on a phone, Mike? Because it'll just show that on the whole screen.
No, I'm hoping I'm on my wife's good laptop.
You'll see half of us and half of his screen when he
That's
gets
what
it up.
I'm hoping for.
Let's see it. There it is. All right.
There we go.
So let me zoom into this a little bit. So I guess, and I apologize for being late. I don't know where we're at with, have we voted already on a virtual conference, or we have not done that yet?
No,
That's where we are.
really just, finish up the treasury report and talking about, are we going to have it? And if we are, what is it going to look like?
So I think that it's important, one of the, my initial thoughts, if Tommy and Megan were still willing to do the keynote, I think we can do that. And then from Friday's meeting that we did, as far as just a group of transportation leaders that got together on Friday to talk about everything, I thought that was pretty valuable for a Let's Talk.
Very good.
So I think that there would be, we could even extend that out a little bit further. I'm going to change this view a little bit. We could extend that out a little bit further than the hour and 15 minutes that it was. If we wanted to, we could go an hour and a half.
Okay.
I would like to see that to be structured and, just kind of have an agenda that we can keep it. Whoever's gonna be the moderator for the meeting to, just kind of keep things on a time task so that we're not bunny trailing too far. Is Josh in here?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I think it's really up to the people that we had originally slated for those conversations, or to do, a presentation of up there in Flagstaff, that if they're still willing to do something, that would be great. I haven't reached out to Nancy Delecky, but I'm sure we could steal probably an hour of her time to do a discussion on Medicaid, especially if it's via Zoom where they don't have to travel. White Fleet preparedness and training, that was going to be Steph at the trust.
Right.
I know that they ran up those guidelines earlier. I want to say it was last year when she just rolled those out, or maybe it was the beginning of this year.
Yes.
I'd be happy to do something on Google. If there's other people that want to speak up and want to present, I think it's really just us getting to the idea of, is the conference, is what we're going to offer as far as like a conference be Tuesday or a day, and then the vendor show or some sort of something where we can have a few rooms open for vendors that want to pop in and have, 30 to 45 minutes of time that people might want to pop in and just have, I don't even really know what that would look like. So I think this is a little bit more manageable because we can control it a little bit better versus what the vendors might have, or, seeing which vendors are going to, I guess, participate. So that's kind of where we're at. I think that, my thought was, again, if we went Tuesday for this, and then Wednesday, maybe a half day for the vendor show, if we did, say, even just the big three, the Platinum, if Canaan State, Auto Safety House, RWC wanted, 30-minute or an hour, even an hour session, I guess we could give them an hour, and they could each, that could be replacing this over here. If you can see my cursor, the new industry updates, where they get an hour each to go and maybe do 2 30-minute sessions for, their industry updates, or do their industry updates and then have questions and, kind of sidebar conversations, I guess.
Yeah, and I think too, like you just mentioned, having the content relevant to our current times is going to be powerful for people, for the smaller districts as well as the larger ones, to hear that. And so if our vendors can, right, add just a tiny component from where they sit of what that looks like and what they're doing to help and support, that might be a good piece.
Well, and I
Agreed.
think that there's, what I don't want it to be is so COVID focused that, you know, because every district is going to be doing some form of their own, you know, planning or whatever the school year is going to look like. So
Towards reopening.
Exactly. I think that there's validation in a let's talk session, like, you know, and have that kind of be an hour and a half session, and then get back into some of the other things that COVID existence or not, that are still pertinent to transportation that we all need to be cognizant of and working on throughout the year. So
supports the work that we're going to do. I think it would even be valuable to have a session on rallying your troops and how are you going to keep them engaged and how are we going to keep them assured, and we still have work to do. So
I think that's a great idea. I think we could do one little session on the COVID, the roadmap to reopening, whatever. But
Yes.
I think we need to focus basically on what our industry has been doing and how we want to keep moving forward in the industry itself, not just this reopening because we're going through this right now. We're going through this. I think I think that will be a big hit with everyone, because then it takes away, you know, because everyone's hearing about the COVID-19 right now and this and that. Let's see if we could get everyone back on the other topics to get them real interested, because they're going to go, oh, thank God they're not just talking about how to reopen with COVID, how to disinfect your bus, how to do this. Let's talk about the full year. I think that would be a great idea.
Yep. So how many gaps do we have in the agenda for a Tuesday, Jason, that you need topics and people to present, or is it full?
I think that it is, well, I won't say that it's full. Let me get back here for a minute.
I mean, I guess I just want to make sure, like, if we're reaching out to
Josh, are you willing to do something on the reunification still?
Yeah, absolutely. I can help with that. I might, I mean, I could work with you. We might change the title a little bit because I think there's some confusion as to what it might be.
Sure. I mean, we were just throwing some, you know, some topics in there. It could be the title to be whatever you want it to be.
Right. I mean, if you need the space or you need me to do something else, that's fine too, but I'm certainly willing to still do that reunification. So
I think it's definitely been something that people have wanted to, you know, to talk about. So
yeah, and it's really, you guys do it really well. I like, and how drivers, like, my head goes to the drill that you guys did where they just got a piece of paper, Josh, and they didn't know that it was a drill or whatever. Like, that's a great way for people, just that awareness to be heightened always.
Right.
So anyway, just a thought. Sorry, sidebar.
And then, I don't know, Tommy, if you wanted to reach out to Brent.
I will absolutely reach out to Brent. I'm sure he would do something on the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, as well as the medical marijuana or the hemp, whatever all that stuff is too. Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of put that as just lump them together as one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who's gonna reach out, Jason or Josh? Who's gonna take care of making sure we're on the fleet maintenance and tech and on that side?
I think the white fleet, do you mean?
No, on tech, anything tech wise or something we put on there, you know, to be determined. Who are we gonna try to utilize there? I've got Jason muted. Huh. Jason, can you hear me?
Jason got muted somehow.
Yeah, Jason got muted. Is that on that tech side, guys? Is that something we were going to try to use one of the vendors for, like how we've used? Oh, now his name just totally slipped me.
Trace, we used to use Trace for that a lot.
Yeah.
Trace, yeah. Were we going to try to reach out to somebody like that and fill that?
I wonder if Trace would still do something even though he's
I'm sure he
Gilbert
would.
now. Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
don't have to
I
worry
had
about the vendors.
Can you guys hear me now? I was
Yeah.
having a
Yes.
little issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in talks with Trace. I think that was my original, or our conversation was just kind of, okay, now he's over on this side of the house, and kind of giving everybody an opportunity to look at things from a different or his perspective, I guess, and things that coming in, knowing what he knew from the private side. How has that changed his perspective of what he sees on this side, and what has he done to prepare those, some of that stuff. So we've talked a little bit. I think the only conversation, he hadn't committed 100% to it. I think as long as we had a time dialed in for him, because especially with most of us all returning back to work now, I think he's just feeling maybe a little bit, he's got so much going on that he just wanted to be able to just, carve out an hour or whatever that time frame looked for us. So I think if he knew a little bit more of the details about not having, obviously not having to travel, if it was just a Zoom meeting for an hour and he could do something. And I told him, quite honestly, even if it was from a let's talk perspective, it didn't have to be a full-blown PowerPoint that he had to go create or do anything like that. But he was certainly open to it. He just wanted, I think, a definitive time frame, a date and time that he needed to commit to one way or the other.
That would be awesome. Okay.
And again, we can add or change the topics if somebody says, hey, this is probably more relevant than what we have up there. It's hard to say. And I think that when you look at, we're probably going to have some form of registration or something per room for them to register to. I don't know if in the Zoom account, doesn't Stephanie do that through Zoom? That was one thing I was confused about, Tommy.
I was confused with that too. I think we're going to have to sit down with her and figure that out. I didn't understand half that.
Because if it doesn't, sorry, Shannon, we can just do simple Google registration forms per room and link it there. That's not that big of a deal. And then we could just either day of or day before, we could send out the meeting invites on that Monday or something like that.
We can send the meeting invites Monday for the morning and the afternoon sessions that day when we have them all in. That way it is closed then. Then we can see how many people are signing up, so we'll know how many more rooms we're going to need.
Awesome.
So Jason and Tommy, go ahead, Shannon.
Do we have the commitment from the trust to share their Zoom platform with us for this virtual conference? I know we talked last meeting about that.
Yes, for the trust transportation one, she was committing that. Their trust account, we would need to just let her know what date and times we needed, so that way if we needed that extra one, we could. I have the basic through Kyrene, and we could use, I think we have you and Shannon, both of us, we have the basic through Kyrene. We have 100 room for 100 people.
Attendees.
Mm-hmm. So we can certainly get through it. I think my only, we might ask, if we're not purchasing our own, we might ask to use the trust transportation one for the opening and closing sessions.
Yeah.
And maybe even like the admin, let's talk.
Let's talk, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think probably the same as you and Shannon, Jason, the 100 account through Higley if we need it as well. So.
Okay.
And I have the paid one for me, so the next level up. So yeah.
That should all
We'll have
work
enough
then.
rooms and accounts to do it in.
Litchfield is always one up than everybody.
I paid for it out of my money, not the district's money. This was my money, so I'm just trying to be like Josh.
All right, I'm going to get the professional one for me.
There you go.
So, and then my only thought was, the closing ceremony for the end of the day was just to, again, I don't know what kind of, how many people will actually attend that, but just maybe have some sort of, something that just kind of tied off the end of the day and didn't just leave anybody with a breakout session. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, short and sweet. Send them off with all kinds of right, elevated.
Well, and
Positive.
that, and it gives us an initial, without having to put a survey out, just see what kind of feedback they like, and maybe give everybody an opportunity to have a couple words to say if they want, and if they liked
Sounds
it, if they
good.
didn't like it, what we're, just so it's fresh in our mind about maybe some changes that we could do coming up. Because what I would like to see us do coming out of this is maybe one more, TAA sponsored Let's Talk session in July before school year starts up, as all the districts will have some sort of voted on solidified plan to start the school year back up.
Sounds
Agree.
good.
Correct.
So I think we know we want to do it, and obviously we'll have to meet again in depth to help and support getting everything ready. But can we at this
Sessions.
point vote on having the conference?
I think so. I can say that I would make a motion that we approve a virtual conference for June 23rd, 2020. Now, do we need to add the 24th in for that second day, or are we looking at just the one day?
I think we should approve both days. We can always make it shorter, but it would require a vote to extend it.
All right, then I make a motion that we approve a 2020 virtual conference for TAA on June 23rd and June 24th.
Got it.
The motion's been made. I'll
Second.
second that motion.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Okay.
You don't want to put up a fancy polling?
I was looking at something else, sorry. All right.
Excellent. So now with that discussion, there was also discussion on the Zoom purchase to be able to maybe do this or for future. And I know, I don't know if everybody saw, there was an email from Tom Hartman, maybe it was just to a couple of us, that he was unable to attend this morning. But if he still has a list of vendor contacts, he will reach out to still do that on the vendor side for Zoom purchase. So we need to just note that still needs to be provided to Tom, that list of vendors.
He should have it. I emailed it to him after our meeting last week.
You did, okay.
I did.
I'll follow up.
Okay.
I'll follow up email with him on that to see if he's gotten that, okay?
I'll send it again today. I sent it last week while I was there. I'll send it again today, just a follow-up too as well. That's fine.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we tabling that, or are we going to vote on it?
I would like to see a motion that if the vendors say they will help out, that we approve the TAA purchase a Zoom account for TAA, so it's there, so it can be purchased
I like that.
and not waiting for another one.
So I'll make a
Okay,
motion. I'll make a motion that says pending incoming funds from vendors that want to participate in the 2020 virtual conference, pending those funds be set aside for the purchase of a 1-year subscription to the business model of,
Yeah.
or business plan of Zoom for the 2020-21 school year.
Perfect.
I think that's good. You may, and I don't know, put you on the spot, Tommy, but if you have a dollar amount to include in that motion or not to exceed or something.
Give me 1 second here and I can do that.
Okay, so let me read this. Can I read this back? So the motion is to accept the purchase pending vendor funds contribution for a TAA 1-year Zoom business platform.
You like that, Jason? I like that.
Sounds nice and clean.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Not to exceed.
The business, small and medium business, is $19.99 a month per host. We can have up to 10 hosts. So If we want to do 5 hosts, that would be $100 a month. 20, 40, 68, yeah. Times 12 months would be 1,200. So I would say let's not to exceed 1,500 for taxes and everything.
An
Taxes
annual
and fees.
amount.
Is that a good amount, Josh, you think?
Yeah, that's the annual, correct?
Yeah, that would be the
Correct.
So let's have it read that way, correct?
Okay, so do you want me to read it back?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the motion is to accept the purchase pending vendor contribution of funds for the 1-year Zoom business plan platform not to exceed $1,500 for TAA.
Correct.
Okay.
So we have, so we
Jason-
have the motion. Jason, it's
Jason made the motion.
Jason made the motion.
All right,
Do we have a
hang on,
second?
can we, Jason, I need to amend that. I'm sorry. It's 10 hosts starting at $199.90, so it'd be $200 a month. So it would be $2,400 for the year. I apologize.
So
Okay.
let's
So
redo that.
2,500?
Correct, 2,500, please. And that gives
Okay.
us up to 300 participants.
Oh, that should,
Okay.
And
that should be
company
adequate.
branding,
Yes.
custom emails.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
So that is a much better platform.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so just modify the motion was 2,500 instead of 1,500. Everything else remains the same, and I just need a second.
I will second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Looks like the ayes have it. Any opposed? Okay,
Nope.
passes.
Jason, so you know Megan Duplain is set for keynote. I just got confirmation, and 1 breakout in the afternoon for youth mental health for that 23rd day.
Perfect.
Okay, moving on to board elections or board discussion of board elections or possible postponed voting till the 2021 conference for board. Jason, do you want to put some discussion on this before I add my
Well,
2 cents?
just to I guess recap our last couple meetings that we've had. I think we're all kind of leaning towards we don't really have the infrastructure to do the online voting. Would there be a way to verify what was and what wasn't? And then also the conversation around, because this is going to be a free platform, that
Correct.
really only paid members have an opportunity to vote. And because it would be free, that we wouldn't have a way to determine who was, even though we're extending their memberships for another year, we wouldn't necessarily have a way to verify if the vote counted or not, because there wasn't a way for them to sign in. So I think the general consensus was just for ease, and I think that Tom Hartman chimed in here from a non-voting perspective, was that because of the circumstances that of what's going on, that I think everybody would agree that there was no reason why we couldn't just extend everybody's position 1 year so that we could reconvene and vote in 2021.
Correct.
I think it's a good idea. I like the idea just because it keeps the current board that's in place right now. We're not trying to do a shift in anything. Just keeps for continuity the group that is here. Just moving forward.
Agreed.
Agree. So do we need to vote on that?
I think we do, yes.
We do. And,
Yeah.
and before we do that, I'd made the closing statement last week in just our work study that also in the current situations, and I hope Jason Salaby can hear me on this, that with the North, you guys, the North was so tied up, and just even all areas of the state and current board and leadership, I just even felt as president, I was very adamant about this, and I think the board totally agreed, and I know I'm repeating what some of the board has says, that I think this is a fantastic idea. We just move forward, current board in place, as we all, for lack of terms, get back on this road to whatever reopening or moving forward. And I think that's just well put by everybody else. And I'm very adamant on that as president, that we do get a motion to retain the current board positions as they are and wait till the 2021 conference to address re-election or elections. And I think if everybody's agreed on that, we can get a motion on that.
Okay.
I make a motion that the current board positions be carried over to the upcoming year and elections be postponed until the June 2021 conference.
I'll second that. Sal Morales.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Josh. So we do have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor of the motion to postpone those elections and as the motion has been made till 2021 in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah.
Excellent. So with all of that discussion and trying to keep moving forward with the organization, we've had discussion on board retreat as well. If you haven't seen any notes or heard any discussion on that, there's been discussion to have a retreat. I like the idea of towards the end of the week of the conference. So we do virtual on Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly Friday, Saturday, or Saturday only, or one day only, 2 days, whatever. We do a retreat for the board. I like the idea of having that centrally located to be able to go over a lot of what we've been through, maybe a recap of the virtual conference, what we can improve, those kind of things. That's been some of the discussion. So we'll open up and get some feedback on that right now.
Okay, so just really quick, happy to host this retreat at my home in Queen Creek, and I have plenty of room for, if you get, however we want it, whatever it looks like. If we want to do an overnight, happy to do that. I mean, the one thing that Jason and I were discussing is that the internet, if we need a ton of internet at any one time, I have internet at my house, but it's not awesome so depending on what we're going to do technology-wise, that would just be a consideration. Otherwise, everyone's welcome.
I don't think we will, Shannon, because I mean it's going to be our retreat where we're sitting and we're working one-on-one.
Yes.
I don't think one or two of us,
Okay.
on internet, on a computer. But I mean, I don't think it's something we're going to do in a Zoom. I don't think it's something we're going to do in a broadcast. As long as you're comfortable coming to it, if you don't feel safe being in a group like that, I think that's going to be their call. But I don't think we're going to need much technology to do it at all. And we can also distance, 6 feet apart around a fire somewhere and still have conversations.
Fire when it's 120 degrees out?
At night, you got to have a fire.
Right.
If you're camping, you still have a fire.
And we do. We have the perfect fire pit, but it will be warm. But we have a swimming pool. Yeah, you can swim. We have pool table. So there's some fun along the way too. But so happy to have that at my house. We can hammer down times and an overnight is fine.
I'd like to propose just, and we can decide this, I guess, as we get closer, but one of the main things I think that from this is really going through our bylaws and seeing what needs to be amended and updated and make a running list of items that will need to be proposed to membership so that they can vote on that. But I think that I don't know when the last time things have been amended. It's probably been several years. And
I think it was.
I feel like it was my second year.
2010 or 11.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was Connie's last year's president. We did a bylaws amendment because I remember voting on it at a conference.
2013.
I would also throw out, and I know Shannon doesn't live too far from my office here, but if you wanted to do something during the day here and utilize Peakley Schools or our office and then do more of the social thing at Shannon's, I'm happy to post that here too. So.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so yeah, I'm open to anything. Just got to let me know times and we'll make it work. And yeah, the branding and the bylaws and the looking ahead, just kind of a little bit of shift.
Yeah, absolutely. It just gives us an opportunity to put some things on the calendar as far as, once we hopefully can purchase the Zoom account, can we solidify some of the, a more Zoom type retreat meetings, or can we, I think this leadership forum that we started on Friday, that might be something that we want to carry quarterly or something like that without having to force people to travel all over the state in order to attend. This may be this portion here. I like to think that all of this isn't a new normal, but I would like to think that the Zoom opportunities for us to meet would be more of a new normal, that we don't have to require as many people to travel from, all over the state. So
take a full day or two
For
for
sure.
our meetings that are 2 to 3 hours long. No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
think this gets us out more to the districts also that can attend our regional meetings as well. This is going to open up
And
a
it's
whole new audience for us.
For sure. An awesome tool. Same with the YouTube page. People can connect without stopping their pace, if you will. So, yay.
So are we in agreement that the retreat will be the 26th and 27th, or just the 26th? Do we need 2
We
days?
have to do it. Well, maybe we do the afternoon of the 26th and then morning. It doesn't matter to me. I don't.
I'm fine with
They
that. I'm
say-
just, from what we've seen, from what I've been able to be a part of with APT, that's typically like midday, afternoon. Then we grab dinner, have a social thing, and then the next morning we kind of wrap it off and we're done by like noon. So it just gives us an opportunity to kind of, I think what I'd like to see is that we recap again the conference, the virtual conference. We'll have a lot of discussion around that, kind of, things that worked, and then maybe transition to scheduling, and then maybe spend that final day in, bylaw reviews and some of the other stuff that we want to see done. So
Excellent.
I like it.
So we'll start on the 26th and end on the 27th. We should address, let's agree on a time. If we start on the afternoon of the 26th or midday after, get a time to start on the 26th and
how long does it take you to drive to the valley?
2.5 hours, 3
Oh,
hours.
can you want to say noon? Noon.
We have a 10
noon?
o'clock leaders meeting that morning on the calendar already, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, it would take me, we could do 12 or 1 would be, I think 1 would probably be fine.
Sure.
Okay.
1 o'clock. So starting 1 o'clock on the 26th, and we can talk about if we're going to do a portion of that at Josh's facility, or if
At
we want to do it
Higley,
all
yes.
at the house. It might be nice to do both, but I'm fine with either. And as we get closer, we'll talk about details and what we would need to make sure we have. But so 1 o'clock on the 26th to 1 o'clock on the 27th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So we're in agreement with that as a board, as a retreat to do that. We do not have to have a formal motion or anything for that. That's just a retreat, work study session. So we'll go with those dates. Excellent.
Correct.
I think if we incur any costs like picking up food or anything, is that something that would have to be? I mean, I know the venues are free, but I'm assuming Shannon's not shopping for us, so.
No, it's
Well,
something
I'll
we
shop and I'll even cook, but
I'm pretty sure I heard Mike say he was bringing the brisket.
I'll bring some brisket.
right.
I'll bring the smoker.
There
we
you
can,
go.
Got
it
it.
can come out. I think because there is going to be so many of us that come, we will need to do a posting on it because there will be more than a quorum there.
Okay.
So we will have to do that, some sort of agenda, just so it is posted to show what we are discussing, but that's it.
Correct.
okay. So so now that we know we're having it, we can hammer down what the expenses are going to look like. Like I said, I don't mind getting everything ready, and then maybe it can be a reimbursement or partial or whatever.
And we can all pitch in, and and TA could do a reimbursement as well. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
So just to kind of close this up and come back to the conference just for a minute, with today being the 8th, and that gives us basically 2 weeks to get everything kind of set and ready. So do we want to target the 12th for confirmations of keynote or just not keynotes, but anybody doing a presentation, just to make sure that we have everybody thumbs up?
I think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Got it.
And then Tommy, I don't know what time frame you need or what. I guess we'll need to figure out maybe offline of which side of the agenda each one of us is going to host, along with the trust, so that way we can get all the rooms set up. Because what I'd like to do is have the link or the agenda sheet on the website that will have the actual link to, when I say sign up here, they'll be able to click that link and go right to a form, or well, I guess we could just do it via Google form, right?
Yeah, we could do it as a Google form for sign up that takes their email address. So then we could do a mail merge to send just to those the link for those classes.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think we want to kind of target probably next Wednesday the 17th to kind of have the 90% of the details dialed in.
Right.
Correct.
And then
So keynotes.
Mike, go ahead, Shannon.
Sorry, keynotes for the 12th and reconvene for details by the 17th. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mike, do you want to connect with Tom Hartman and just make sure that he's dialed in there and kind of let him know what we're thinking as far as, I think we could probably do, I don't know how many people he's going to get. I would say if he gets more than 12 vendors that want to participate, we could probably still do, maybe, I'm wondering if give them each of the main vendors or platinum vendors an opportunity to have their own session, so people don't have to pick or choose. But then everybody else who falls below that, kind of have, just like we do with our breakout sessions, where we'll give them a 45-minute window to have a room open and people can just kind of pop in and out. And then, I'm thinking maybe myself and Tommy and Josh and Shannon can just kind of moderate those, allowing people in and out of the room.
I'll get a hold of him today. You bet. I'll follow up on that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, what else?
The other thing we had was any open sessions, but before we do that, Jason, on our work session, we talked about that trust educational partnership. Do we need to address anything on that today?
No, I think we're going to look at that in the our meeting after the conference and our board retreat. That's something that will probably need to be amended as part of the bylaws, because it does show those kind of positions in there as far as vendor liaison. So I think that's going to be something that may be added in there.
The last Stephanie talked about was if we got them an invoice that just said educational partnerships or something like that, and then that would work for them to submit monies to us to keep things going. And she was even willing to pay for next year's conference for her and the other two from the trust and transportation to keep our funds moving forward. So I'll get an invoice together and an educational partnership.
I think the big piece is that not just giving us money. I would like to see them be able to have a seat on the board to attend our meetings, whether it's virtually or not. So whoever, if it's the trust, if it's Mahoney Group, if it's Valley Schools or whoever, that they all have an opportunity to hold a yearly position, just as our platinum vendors do.
Yep.
That we kind of, that we do kind of rotate through. We obviously know one group is more, working with us versus the others. So they may just hold the group in general, or maybe that's the fee, right? I'm paying my way. So if there's another entity that also wants to pay, can there be more than one group sitting in that seat at one given time? That will be a conversation that we need to have as well. But I'd like to see them be instrumental in those conversations to where they can be at the table with us, kind of brainstorming and planning, and not just us coming up with an idea and then pushing it back to them going, oh, well, let's send them an email and see what they find out. We can just have them there at the table with us.
Excellent. Agreed. Okay. Anything else under comments or open business talk discussion today? No? Everybody looks like they're kind of nodding no. How about follow up on this next meeting then with, you got this date of Wednesday the 17th 8th, notices go out the 12th. So are we meeting again?
We're going to have to.
I don't think it can hurt to have just a follow-up meeting. It doesn't have to be very long.
Correct.
You know, if we want to make it the 17th, that's fine.
Let me look at that.
I would just like to kind of walk through all of the details. Hopefully at that point we would have the Zoom meeting set up, who's hosting what, kind of maybe already have an idea of how many people have signed up for each class as of the 17th, and then maybe have a better idea of what the vendor day will look like, and then we can just kind of hash out any final details that we might need to hash out.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what time on the 17th?
9:30, 10 o'clock still work for everyone?
9:30.
All right.
9:30. Wednesday the 17th.
Okay.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah. Are we going to just push out to our membership as we always have via the website and email that there is in fact going to be a virtual conference? And is that happening on the 12th or before?
We could start advertising it right now, to get the word out, and then more information coming, next Wednesday, we put something else out with what an agenda may look like.
Well,
yes.
I mean, I think, I don't know that, I mean, we can make the announcement that it's coming with, to Tommy's point, coming soon, stay tuned, something along those lines. And then if the 12th is going to be our solidified date for, guest speakers, and then we can just, over the weekend, probably have that dialed in. I can create the forms real quick for registration and then get that sent out. So I would say some sort of loose communication through Facebook or whatever to say that, hey, we're doing this, and then an email the weekend of the 12th through the 5th, or basically an email this weekend to say we're doing this, what we're doing.
I like that.
Okay. Ooh, it's going to get busy. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's coming.
This is why we delegate to the rest of our staff to figure out our department's COVID stuff, right?
Right. Exactly.
You figure it out, I'll prove you. No. All right.
Okay. So with that, we do need a motion for adjournment if everybody's in agreement on those other dates and business.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second that.
I'll second.
Sal and Shannon both second.
Excellent. 9:30 next week. Excellent. Thank you,
Thank
Shannon.
you.
You're good.
Goodbye.